February top news, France.
France's main farming groups told the protesters who have set up hundreds of tractor blockades across the country to go home. This came after the government announced plans to try to calm down the movement that has spread across Europe, including Belgium, Portugal, Greece, and Germany.
United States.
The US military attacked more than 85 targets in Iraq and Syria that were linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a response to the attack in Jordan last weekend that killed 3 US soldiers. The attacks, which included long-range B-1 bombers launched from the US, killed close to 40 people according to the authorities.
Kenya.
Kenyan police report that at least 3 people were killed and 280 were hurt in an explosion at an illegal cooking gas filling plant in the country's capital. The fire began when a gas truck blew up in Nairobi's district, setting off a huge ball of fire that spread considerably.
Chile.
Authorities reported on Monday that over 120 people have been killed in destructive wildfires devastate vast regions of Chile. Authorities report that hundreds of people remain missing, increasing concerns that the death toll will continue to rise as additional bodies are discovered on houses and hills destroyed by the wildfires.
United Kingdom.
The 75-year-old King Charles of Britain has been diagnosed with a particular type of cancer, and he will delay his public appearances while he receives treatment, Buckingham Palace announced on Monday. According to the palace, Charles is wholly positive about his treatment and wants to be back to his full public duties as soon as possible.
Sweden.
Sweden ceased its investigation into the explosions that occurred on Nord Stream pipes in 2022 that were transporting Russian gas to Germany, claiming lack of jurisdiction and having given German authorities access to the evidence it had found. According to Sweden, there is no proof that Swedish people were engaged in the explosions.
Turkey.
The Turkish defense company Baker has begun construction on a factory close to Kiev, where it plans to employ about 500 people and produce drone models TB2 or TB3. Turkish-made drones have become well known throughout the world after being utilized by the military of Ukraine to stop Russian forces by destroying artillery and armored vehicles.
United States.
Southern California was hit by a catastrophic Pacific storm, which was the second weather storm to pass over the West Coast in less than a week. The storm caused widespread street flooding and mudslides in the area.
Russia.
Putin stated in an interview that Russia will defend its interests to the end, but will not spread its war in Ukraine to Poland and Latvia. In a significant portion of the interview, Putin criticized the fact that British Minister Boris Johnson had persuaded Ukraine to abandon negotiations when they were about to reach an agreement to cease conflict in Istanbul in April 2022.
Iceland.
Thursday, Iceland's volcano erupted for the second time this year, sending lava up to 260 feet into the air. This is the 6th eruption on the southwestern Reykjanes Peninsula since 2021. The previous eruption began on January 14 and lasted 2 days, with lava flows reaching Grindavik's fishing village.
Egypt.
3 Egyptian security sources say that in the last 2 weeks, Egypt has sent around 40 tanks and armored personnel carriers to northeastern Sinai as part of a plan to make its border with Gaza safer. The move happened before Israeli military operations increased around the city of Rafah in Gaza, where many people have run for safety. A lot of Palestinians could be pushed to leave the enclave.
Spain.
3 people had been taken into custody after 8 tons of cocaine were found by Spanish police in the southern port of Algeciras, packed in a container that looked like a power generator. The metal case containing the cocaine was made to avoid scanner detection.
United Arab Emirates.
The Eternitas Tower has the distinction of becoming the tallest residential clock tower worldwide at an impressive 450 meters in height. This is more than 4 times the height of the Big Ben in London and only 22 meters below the Central Park Tower in New York City, which is the tallest residential structure in the world.
Russia.
Russian scientists have almost finished developing cancer vaccinations, which might soon be made available to patients, according to President Vladimir Putin's statement on Wednesday. I hope that they will be used as effective methods of individual therapy soon, he stated, during a conference on future technologies in Moscow.
France.
Paris Saint-Germain has been informed by France forward Kylian Mbappé that he plans to leave the club at the end of the current campaign. At the expiration of his contract with the Ligue 1 champions, the 25-year-old has been strongly associated with a transfer to Real Madrid.
Russia.
Vladimir Putin's rival, Alexei Navalny, passed away on Friday following a walk at the Polar Wolf prison colony, where he was serving a 3-decade sentence. President Joe Biden blamed Vladimir Putin for Alexei's death, saying that he was not surprised, but outraged by the opposition leader's passing.
Japan.
After multiple challenges, including the unsuccessful inaugural flight of the H-3 flagship rocket last year, Japan successfully launched its new H-3 on Saturday, restoring momentum to its space program. Japan is attempting to revive its space program together with its ally, the United States, in an effort to counter China.
Belgium.
On Wednesday, the European Union passed the 13th round of sanctions on Russia relating to Ukraine, banning almost 200 organizations and people who are alleged to have assisted Moscow in obtaining weapons or taking part in the abduction of Ukrainian children.
Gaza.
According to papers supplied exclusively by the United Nations, Israeli forces opened fire on a United Nations convoy carrying essential food supplies in central Gaza before eventually blocking the trucks from traveling to the northern portion of the enclave, where Palestinians are facing starvation. Although most of the convoy's supplies, including wheat flour that is vitally needed to make bread, were destroyed, no one in the convoy suffered injuries.
Israel.
The Israeli song for the Eurovision Song Contest is being closely examined by the organizers because lyrics that were released to the public look to be a reference to the October 7th strike by Hamas that started the Gaza war. Eurovision says it is not a political event, and competitors who break that rule can be kicked out of the competition.
Spain.
In the Spanish city of Valencia, a big fire destroyed an apartment building, killing at least 9 people and leaving up to 14 others missing. The firefighters discovered the victims using a drone, since they were unable to enter to put out the fire from the inside.
Sweden.
Hungary's approval on Monday removed the last obstacle to Sweden's entry into NATO. This ended 200 years of armed independence that helped Stockholm build a reputation around the world as a neutral peacemaker and human rights champion.
United States.
Bitcoin reached a 2-year high on Tuesday, positioning itself for its most significant 2-day increase of the year, which means that major players were purchasing the cryptocurrency. The minor competitor, Ether, surpassed $3,200 for the first time since 2022. According to Max Keiser, the continuous ascent of Bitcoin may result in a God candle that elevates its value to $100,000.
Russia.
To maintain price stability in the face of rising consumer and to permit refinery maintenance, the second largest oil exporter in the world, Russia imposed a 6-month halt on gasoline exports beginning March 1st. A spokeswoman for Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak confirmed the prohibition.
United States.
Numerous media sources claim that Apple has given up on its 10-year initiative to develop an electric vehicle, ending what some considered as a potentially game-changing move for the auto industry. Several staff involved in Project Titan will be transferred to the company's artificial intelligence section, according to Bloomberg.
Italy.
Following a negative anti-doping test, Juventus midfielder and 2018 World Cup champion Paul Pogba has been suspended for 4 years. The 4-year suspension was authorized by the National Anti-Doping Tribunal on February 29. Pogba will file an appeal against the decision that will decide if the player is suspended or not.